Walk into almost any supermarket on earth and you'll find an entire aisle dedicated to one thing: pads, tampons, menstrual cups, products so ordinary that most people barely notice them. But here's the strange part. For nearly all of human history, none of these existed. No pharmacies, no disposable products, no carefully designed packaging promising comfort and protection. Yet, women have been menstruating for tens of thousands of generations. So what happened before modern products? How did women manage one of the most fundamental biological processes in human history? The answer is far more surprising than most people realize. Because the biggest misconception isn't what women used. It's how often they needed to use anything at all. Today, a woman in a developed country may experience hundreds of menstrual cycles across her lifetime. It's so normal that we rarely question it. But if you traveled back into prehistory, you would discover something completely different. Many women spent large portions of their adult lives either pregnant or breastfeeding, and both of those states dramatically reduced the number of menstrual cycles. Life looked very different. Girls often reached reproductive maturity later than they do today. Food was less predictable. Bodies carried less stored energy. Then came pregnancy, followed by years of nursing children. For some women, entire stretches of life passed with very few menstrual cycles at all. In other words, what modern society experiences as a monthly event was often far less frequent in the ancient world. But it still happened, and when it did, women relied on whatever their environment could provide. In forested regions, soft plant materials and absorbent mosses were sometimes used. Elsewhere, bark fibers, cloth, animal skins, or other locally available materials served the same purpose. Some communities developed reusable solutions. Others approached menstruation very differently and focused less on containment than modern societies do. What matters is that there was no universal method. Every environment created its own answer. But the story becomes even more fascinating when we look beyond the practical side. Across many ancient cultures, menstruation wasn't viewed only as a biological event. It carried social and symbolic meaning. In some societies, menstruating women spent time together in separate communal spaces. Modern people often assume these places were forms of exclusion. Yet, historical and anthropological records suggest a more complicated reality. For some communities, these spaces offered rest, a pause from daily labor, a chance for women to gather, share stories, exchange knowledge, and spend time with one another. In a world where survival required constant work, that time could be incredibly valuable. And then there is one of archaeology's greatest mysteries: red ochre. Thousands of years before written language, humans were collecting, grinding, and spreading bright red pigment across their bodies. Archaeologists have discovered it across Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. Nobody knows exactly why it became so important. Some researchers believe it symbolized life, fertility, or blood itself. Others think it played a role in rituals that helped early human communities build shared identities. Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. Long before modern civilization existed, humans were already attaching meaning to the body's natural processes. As centuries passed, technologies changed, cloth became common, reusable materials improved. Eventually, industrial manufacturing transformed menstrual care entirely. What had once depended on local resources became a global industry worth billions of dollars. In the span of just a few generations, women gained access to products that their ancestors could never have imagined. But hidden beneath that transformation is a fascinating biological twist. Many evolutionary researchers argue that modern bodies are living in conditions very different from those that shaped human evolution. Diet changed. Lifestyle changed, family size changed. The reproductive patterns that were once common became far less common. And the result is a body experiencing a rhythm unlike anything most ancient humans would have known. Which brings us back to that supermarket aisle. At first glance, it looks like a collection of ordinary products, but behind every box sits a story stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. A story of adaptation, of survival, of biology, and of generations of women finding solutions long before modern industry existed. Because while the products change, the experience itself connects modern people to some of the oldest chapters of human history. And maybe that's the most remarkable part. Something so ordinary today has roots that reach all the way back to the dawn of humanity.